So you already know me. I lurk these internet streets, and I saw this video. Listen to a certain part, and I was like, "Oh, let's listen."
I had a man ask me, why don't relationships last like our grandparents? And there are all the obvious answers that people have already covered. Women couldn't open bank accounts and couldn't own homes and do things basically without the permission of a man until like the 70s and 80s. And so that's the very surface level reason. But I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to answer the question by telling you a story. I had an aunt who was very small, like 5'1", 5'2". She was also very thin. And she came home from work, she dropped her check off, and then she goes to the grocery store because she needs to feed her husband and the kids. She goes to the grocery store and she's like, F it, I'm just gonna steal this pack of meat. I think it was like a pack of steaks or something like that. She's like, I'm about to.
So you come home, you have a check, which means you have money. You drop the check off, and then you go to the grocery store to steal. Let's keep going.
Steal this. And she goes to put it under her shirt. And no BS, she looked like Troy trying to steal that bag of chips in Crooklyn. Like the styrofoam from the meat is like sticking out the sides of her shirt. It's very obvious that she's trying to steal.
It sounds like a stupid plan that she need to abort the mission.
And the security guard stops her and he's like, I can't let you do this. And she was like, I don't know what the hell you talking about. He's like, come on now. And she puts up a tussle. She fights the security guard. And the security guard calls the police. She gets arrested. She goes to jail. She calls her husband from jail and she says, hey, I need you to come get me out of jail. They lock me up. Come get me. Go get my check out the top drawer, cash it, and come get me.
If you could use the check for bail money, why the fuck you didn't cash the check and go use it to buy food? I'm so confused. If you could use the check to bail yourself out of jail, why not cash the check and use your money to buy the food? And when you're at the supermarket and the man say you can't take that, why are you out here tussling to the point where they call the police and all that? You know, don't you just drop it and get up out of there as best as you can or whatever?
And he goes, we need that money. I'll see you on Monday. I need you to come get me out of jail. They lock me up. Come get me. Go get my check out the top drawer, cash it, and come get me. And he goes, we need that money. I'll see you on Monday.
So he got some sense. I got to feed the kids. We need the money to spend. Your stupid ass didn't have to go to jail. You can do the weekend. You can definitely do the weekend. If you can do the crime, you can do the time. The money could have used to buy grocery and still have some change left. Instead, we're about to use the money to bail you out of jail when we could just wait till Monday you're going to get out. When, to be honest, you didn't even have to do it. You had a check. I'm starting to think I'm crazy because the decisions people are making is
They lock me up, come get me. Go get my check out the top drawer, cash it, and come get me. And he goes, we need that money. I'll see you on Monday. She gets out of jail on Monday. She comes home. She walks through the front door. She goes to the bedroom. She comes back to the front and shoots that man in the leg. And she said,
No. I shouldn't laugh because if it was reversed and he had shot her in the leg, I wouldn't be laughing because I remember I got a story exactly like this, but it was flipped where the lady got shot and I was laughing. So I might tell you that story after this. What? Shorty shot his ass. So what?
She gets out of jail on Monday. She comes home. She walks through the front door. She goes to the bedroom. She comes back to the front and shoots that man in the leg. And she says, when I tell you to come get me from jail, you come get me. And get your ass in the car and let's go to this hospital.
Where's the kids when all of this is happening? Did she bow them in front of the kids? Oh my God, y'all are so ghetto. Ooh, I like being in my soft girl era because what?
They sew them up and they were together for 60 years. Or something like that, 55, something like that. They were together till they both died.
Okay, so it sounds like the typical story. It's just that it's flipped around this time. And what I like to tell people, they spent 60, 70 years together because they had no choice but to be together. And for some of these people that had choice, that it's later on in life, like it wasn't during the whatever times, it's later, and they stay together, it's because it was toxic. A lot of these older relationships are toxic. A lot of what your granny and your great granny and even your mama put up with is so toxic you don't want to do it. You shouldn't do it. Okay? Let's be very clear. So sometimes you see that 50-60, but if they should ever sit down and tell you the tale of the 50-60, you said, damn, you a strong black woman. I'm not. I like to tell people I'm not a strong black woman. Because what comes with that strong black woman, I'm not it. No. So sometimes you see the 60s and 70s and you want the 60s and 70s, but nobody want to act like the people in the 60s and 70s. Because a lot of y'all don't want to be in the position that your granny was really in. And a lot of these men, but you see, the men want to go back to what the grandpa was in, because he was allowed to have 12 kids outside, whoop on her, and she had to put up with it. But in this case, I ain't gonna lie, auntie with the shit. You see, I'm wrong. I'm wrong for that. I ain't supposed to say that because he got shot. Anyways, DV that did happen in the past, a lot of it. And so sometimes you look at these 60s and 70s and you don't want it. Oh, you know what? I don't want it. I don't want it. I know a lot of people that's been together for 60, 70, but I know a lot of people that have been together for 20 years, but I know a lot of people that have been together for 50 years. I think I said 50 already. I decided to say it again. He left her like 50 times over the 50 years. He go ghost for 3 weeks. He with his side piece. Sometimes you say, so how is he a married man, but you was with him every day? How is it? Because wifey don't got no talk. He dipped out of the house. They spent the last 3 weeks with his mistress, and when he go home, his wifey say something, she getting smacked in the lip. It's crazy. Y'all can keep them 60, 70, because if it's not healthy, I don't want it.
I bring the story up to say, now, while not all of your grandfathers were being shot, I almost guarantee you they were getting their asses beat. Like, I can almost guarantee that the longevity of your grandparents or great grandparents' marriage was very likely connected to when that man came up them stairs drunk, or from his other woman's house, or from playing pool, or just being negligent as a husband and a father. He was getting his ass beat. For surely. Oh, for surely.
I mean, sometimes they tried and got their ass beat, but yeah, we get the point. It was toxic. She had to put up with a lot. She had to put up with a lot. A lot. That's why I said, strong black woman ain't me.
Hot grits, oil, belts. There was a lot.
Trying to go back so we don't miss nothing.
Oh, for surely. Hot grits, oil, belts. There was a lot of tussling happening in your great grandparents' houses and in your grandmother's houses. Yeah. Were men domestically violent? 100 trillion% since the beginning of time. But the stories that your grandmothers are not telling their grandsons is that, yeah, I was beating your granddaddy ass.
I remember my granny told me, he put his hands on you, boil porridge. I'm Jamaican. Boil porridge, but you want it thick and nice. When he falls asleep, you want it liquid enough so he can pour, but thick. Pour it in his ear. Hot oil will work, hot water will work, but the hot water is lame. Boiling the hot oil is nice. That one gonna really, really get him where he needs to be. But that porridge is sweet. You know what I mean? Yeah, buddy. So, somebody told me a story about who was it? Their grandma doing 25 years in the penitentiary for taking her husband's life. He whooped her. He was cheating, all of that. He whooped her, and she took him up out of there. And then she went to prison, and when she came home, the person that was telling me said her granny said to her, and I do that shit again. So granny did them 20 years, came home like a real bad gal, a real gangster, and said, and I do it again. What's up? Okay. So, I mean, there was a lot of these relationships that wasn't as cute. The 60, 70 sounds good, but a lot of these men want the 60, 70 with all of the ABUSC involved, all of the cheating and stuff. Not respecting the boundaries that was set into play. You just want women to be docile, submissive, shut up, don't say nothing. You make choices, even when it's stupid. You can't lead yourself to walk forward 2 steps, much less to want to lead me with your terrible leadership skills, just terrible problem solving skills, all of this. But you want me to sit docile and just wash, cook, clean, and give it to you when you want it, and be quiet. Get a robot. Get a blow up doll.
That's why this marriage lasted, because when he came back from Miss Tabitha's house up the street, where that other little boy lived who looked a lot like my son, yeah, I was beating his ass. When we got back from church and I saw him looking at Miss Claudine with the daughter that looked a lot like my daughter, yeah, I was beating his ass. Your grandmothers aren't telling you that, but you know who they're telling? Their daughters and their nieces and their granddaughters. So y'all keep saying you want marriages like your grandparents, but y'all don't want to get y'all asses beat like your grandfathers did. And that's the problem. Oh, and also y'all like to murder your wives. I forgot about that part. That's another reason why they're not lasting, because you're fucking murdering your wives and the mothers of your children. Your grandparents' marriage lasted because your grandmother didn't get fucking murdered by your grandfather. Hope that hurts. I had a man ask me.
The hope that hurts was a wound, a stab wound. But yeah, so I'm gonna tell you a story real quick about a lady that got shot. That we're gonna hop in the comment section because this is read the comments, so we read comments. I was on watch with a lady. She was a civilian. I was not, and I don't remember how DV came up, but I'm telling her like I'm with none of that. And she just told me that I think she was from Carolina, either South or North Carolina, and she was telling me the story of the toxic relationship that she was in for like 13 years or something. And she got shot like 3 times, and he shot her in the house because she wouldn't want to. She didn't do what he said. He would just walk by, shoot in her leg, and she wasn't lying because she was showing me the wounds. And I sat there. You know what? I did laugh because at one point I was like, "Oh, this is a real story." I have a weird thing when you tell me something that is like, "Woo!" like crazy, where people be like, "Oh my god!" Sometimes I laugh because it's like, "What? This is real? This really happens in real life? That's crazy." And then I look at you like you're crazy because, bitch, what? 3 times, 1 time is enough, but 3 times is crazy. And she would never tell on him. He would have to take it to the hospital, and he make up a whole story about what happened. And she would stay with him. And she said 2 of the times she couldn't go to the hospital. 1 of the times she got to go because she was bleeding out so bad. The other 2 times, he's the one that stitched her up. He's the one that put a thing on her. And I think he had a relative that was into the medical field, not a doctor, but like a nurse or something. And that person would come look at it for her. I looked at that lady like, you batshit. So I don't know if I have to ask her how you got out of it. And she said he got arrested, got 5 years, and she just ran. She left the state, whatever state, one of the Carolinas, and she never looked back. She said, but if he hadn't gotten locked up, she would have still been with him. She wouldn't have left him. But him going to jail and, no longer being in his presence, plus, she got a new man. So, she just took off and never looked back. I said, okay, bless your heart. Bless your heart, child. So, yeah, a lot of these relationships is crazy. Crazy if you listen to. If grandma should really sit and tell you everything that went down, is like, no. And if you were a child that got to observe it, no. I remember me not wanting to cook for years. And most people didn't know why I don't want to cook. Because you ain't asked, so I ain't tell. And if you did ask, you ain't asked right, so I ain't going to answer. But one reason was, I used to see, I won't say who, so it's not crazy. But, I see it everywhere. But specifically, a situation where a person couldn't fly, mean like go on vacation, fly to another country or anything like that. The person could not, go look for their sister for the weekend. The person couldn't do none of this because he couldn't feed himself. He wouldn't cook for himself. And prepping the food, like cooking the food and then say, okay, this is for tonight and this is for tomorrow morning. I'll be back tomorrow evening is a problem. You have to wash, cook, and clean. Wouldn't lift a finger. And I remember seeing that and saying to myself, if anybody bitch ass son think I'm doing this, he crazy. I'm not even going to learn how to cook. So ninja going to eat from me. You dumb? And then you see it, I used to see it everywhere. So I used to see it. Women getting whooped because they need to go cook. Women getting whooped because he came home and the pot wasn't ready. It's on the stove or something. Women getting whooped. I said, you must be fucking lying. I never learned how to cook for a very long time. A very long time. To the point where there's things that I still can't cook to this day because who you playing with? Swear to God. So I refuse. I said, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to be all. So maybe that's why dating is so weird for me, and that's why I can tell you guys that definitely ain't cleaning no house, definitely ain't doing none of these stuff in the dating phase. Are you dumb? I'm not doing that. I'm not doing. I'll do it for myself, for sure, of course. But we're not residing together, which means you are a grown man. You are responsible for your own place, and I need to know that you can take care of a household. What if I pass on and you're the only parent the kids have? All of a sudden now you can't take care of the kids because you can't put on a meal, you can't clean the house. What happens? Now you're rushing to find somebody else. Either you're gonna drop the kids off by the grandma, so now your mother has to raise the kids because you can't be a father, or you have to move another woman in real quick. The kids don't even get a time to mourn my passing because you're unable to take care of yourself. No. Because if you pass, I have time to take the kids into therapy and I'm able to maintain and take care of everything because I'm not an invalid. So therefore, I'm not enabling a man to be an invalid. And that's something I've stood by. And then I realized, but I need to feed my kids. Bitch, I need to feed my damn self. Let me go learn how to cook. I realized, girl, it's not only for him. You gotta eat too. I was like, oh, okay. Nobody told me that. I just, came to the conclusion at one point, like, but I was like 30. Woo, are you dumb? I'm not doing it. Get somebody else to do it. And before you be like, that's why you're single. Nope. I always dated guys that cooked. Period. So they would cook for me. Anyways, you probably think I'm joking. Let's hop in the comment section, all right? Oh my God, we're almost at 20 minutes and we ain't never read no comments. That's crazy. Somebody said women gain rights because so many men died unexpectedly. Exactly. These men should be grateful. Somebody said they really don't understand how good they've got it right now. They should thank us. Somebody said, yep, there was somebody on this app who was talking about how his great-grandmother was a young woman in the 20s and how people use phrases from that time differently now. Like, seen a man, went out for milk, went out for cigs, didn't mean he abandoned someone. It meant that he saw a girl digging a hole 6 feet deep in the backyard and took off. Oh. A lot of poison was used back then too. Yup. Remember the person that I said told me that the grandma did the time and said you do it again, she poisoned him. Cast iron and whooped him while he was passing on. Somebody, Miracle Alchemist says, cast iron skillets were inherited as wedding gifts, ladies and gentlemen. If you know, you know. Put that skillet upside his head. Bow! A skillet. You see how strong a skillet is. But if I have to do all that, I'm out. I think, shout out to my ancestors, right? Shout out to my great granny and them that was tussling back. Shout out to my granny and whoever that was out there tussling back in the day. I'm doing none of that. But you know what? They fought for their rights, so I have the right to do this shit right now. I have the right to talk big shit the way I'm talking big shit right now. Because they got the rights, so that I don't need a man to get a house. I don't need a man to get an apartment. I don't need a man. If I want one, I can have one. But I don't need one. Because, child, all that whooping and hollering and have to pull up on him because he outside with Miss Vicky. You crazy. Not doing it. Not doing it, child. Not doing it. Somebody said, I got one so big and heavy that it seriously takes 2 hands to lift. I hate to have it to use. I bought a set, and the big one for real, you have to hold it with both hands. I had to do one thing with a skillet, and I had to buy a whole set because one skillet and the stack of skillets that I bought was the same price. Literally, Amazon is crazy sometimes. The prices on Amazon don't be making no sense. Jazzy says, always get one that's easier to swing, babe. A nice 8-inch one. I got a heart-shaped Dolly Parton skillet. Super cute. Super easy to swing, like Rapon said. If you need to buy a skillet so you can swing at somebody, you need to get up out of that relationship. If you have to prep yourself to purchase a skillet, baby girl, it's 2026. We're not in what our great granny grands was in. Get up out of there. If you have to be out here tussling and bustling about, it sounds like you need to get out. And I don't mean get out, okay? I mean you need to leave. Somebody said, let go if I can find it. Mine is pink, but a bitch to lift. Not using it. My grandma gave me the biggest, heaviest one she had. No, she gave it to you to cook, not to swing at your partner. She didn't like your man. Nope, at all. And she was right. Is that why they were frequently used as weapons in old cartoons? Probably. Somebody said grandma had 9 sisters and in jumped men who were abusive. Listen, real story again. And the guy's the one that told me the story. I was in Jamaica back in the day, and he was an older gentleman. And I don't remember how the conversation of DV came up, and he said he don't do DV no more. And I said no more. He was like, yeah, he had one experience and he cool. So he was in a relationship. This was back in the day. You know, everybody sold substances back in the day. So he's Jamaican. The woman is Jamaican. They've been together since forever. And, you know, he moving and grooving. She moving and grooving, whatever. He said he used to put hands on her or whatever. But it's nothing crazy. He said he didn't do nothing crazy. But, you know, he'd grab her, you know, slap her, but it was nothing crazy. He said one time they got into a real, but she's fighting him back. She's just losing. He said one time they got in a real bad argument, and he put the beats on her. He said he did her bad. He said after he was done, he felt sorry for her. She ended up in the hospital. He said he felt real bad. And he said he didn't know if he could go to the hospital to see her, but he did, and she accepted it, and he took her home, and he's the one that took care of her during her healing process. And he was like, okay, we good, she forgive me. He said one day he came home, and he opened the door, and he didn't get to close the door properly. He had an iron bat in the back of his head. He said both his knees were broken, both his elbows were broken, his shoulder was out of socket, they fractured a rib. They beat him. She and her sister, she waited until she got healthy. Swear to God, and he's the one that told me the story. He said he ain't never put his hands on a woman after that because, he said he learned a lesson that day. And he said after it happened, he was like, yeah, makes sense. I put her in the hospital, they put me back in the hospital. Obviously they were crazy. But yeah, he's the one that told me that story. The 9, I don't remember how many sisters, but it was more than 5. It was a lot of them. And all the sisters beat him with iron bats. But Shorty waited until she healed because she wanted to put in work too. But she was a gangster, he said. You know, long time gangster. Sell her thing and have up her DRUG money. And you know what I'm saying? So she was a big shot too within her own right as a mover and a shaker. But they were together. And child beat him and waited until she was healed to do it. I love that for her. I love that. And then she left him. Left him and robbed up some DRUG when she was leaving. I said, child, I love her. All right, keep going. All right. And also there's a rumor in my family that my grandma is the one that, for her and her sisters, is the one that they would call if somebody had any abusive situations because she gonna pull up and get active. So I heard. My grandma don't give stories and stuff like that. She won't tell you things like that. If you ask her, she's not telling you. Somebody said teamwork makes the dream work. I love that for them. I got 6 sisters, and now I know we aren't living it up to our full potential. If any of my sisters call me to help them to beat a man, I need to understand what happened. I'm being serious. Well, no, I'm lying. But the problem with it is, are you going back? Because I don't have time for this. That's the only thing. Are you going back? He did what he did. I'm going to pull up. I know people are going to say I should just pull up and do it just self-defense if that's my sister. And I think one of my sisters know I'm going to pull up regardless. But yeah, the pull up is going to be strong. I'm just chatting. But I need to know you're not going back. Because if you pull up, you know what? I'm going to do it. But if you go back, I'm cutting you off. I'm never talking to you again. Because I don't have time. I don't deal with this type of drama in my life. So having to do it in yours, I'm going to cut you off. Somebody said cast iron skillets and gardens. Ooh, they used to just plant up those pretty flowers that's fertilized real well. Somebody said, what does the garden reference mean? I think it means grandpa is sleeping in heavenly places. He's in peace, okay? Some of them crazy heifers was burying babies around here. Ugh. Some things used to go on back in the day, child. Somebody said, and the fair children were kept separated. I am a full believer it's a choice to integrate the mess. I disagree with this. Tati, I'm not like that. I don't like it. The kid did not do anything. Two adults was irresponsible, disrespectful, disgusting, and did what they did. That's your man and that woman. The child that that woman produced has nothing, did nothing to anybody. And they're actually still siblings. So you saying he can't get the kids when he has the other child is just mad corny to me. You know what's crazy? I would go out of my way to make sure the kid is good and avoid the man that I even had kids with because he's such a corny little bitch. That's crazy. I disagree with this. They were kept separated. I don't know. People are laughing. People said I love her. Oh my God. So a lot of y'all agree with this. Similar story as my grandparents. This is disgusting. Women that are willing, able, and support men being deadbeats. Being separated means he's not seeing that child as much as he's seeing these kids because these kids are at home with you. That's crazy. That's somebody said mine too. Yo, something similar happened among my great grandparents. My great grandmother definitely gave the man a run for his money. My grandparents did the same thing. The kids were separated. Yeah, my mother had siblings from the lady down the street, and I was recently aware of two more uncles from my grandfather when I was contacted by one of their granddaughters and ancestors for my DNA test. The men think their grandmas were sweet and fragile, but she was a big dog. I know my grandma was. There was some fragile ones, child, that was really going through it. Sorry for them. Somebody said reactive ABUSC is not DV. It is. Yes, you reacted, but it's still DV. If the police show up, your ass gonna be charged with DV. So it's DV, baby girl. Let's see what people say. I know they're gonna disagree with me. Somebody said self-defense. If you wait till he go to sleep and throw grits on him, that's not self-defense. Unless if you are in the thing, like right now he's whooping you and you had a pot of, you were frying some fish, and you just got it on him, that's different. Go to you're bad. But if it is you wait till he walk off and then you go at the hole and run him down, and no. If he whoop your ass in the front room, then you walk to the kitchen, grab the skillet, walk back and try to conk him upside the head, no. You can still be charged. So be careful. Somebody said self-defense is for physical. This woman should have stayed in jail and never came out. And he's sweet for staying. No accountability. She ain't deserve him going down there and bailing her out. To be honest, I wouldn't have bailed her ass out. The bitch would have to shoot me and then just know I'm going to shoot the bitch back. We would have been shot for shot around this bitch. We would be two legless bitches. Armless bitches too. Because might have to shoot your shit off. And I mean, but you came in with the check. Put no disrespect to Shorty that's making a video, because I know you're relative or whatever, but facts is facts. So you came in, put the check down that you got from actually working, that is actually money that you could have cashed to go buy whatever you wanted to buy. Walk your ass down by the supermarket, steal the stupidest way possible because it was obvious that you're stealing, get caught, tussle around long enough for the police to show up, go to jail, and then have the balls, and the applause to call me, to tell me to come use the money to come in. No, do the weekend and come home. We need the money, bro. And what you did was dumb. Because I'm sure bailing you out costs way more than just going down and paying for the meat. The Steven of the meat was so dumb to me. I'm so confused. Him getting pew-pewed is crazy, but you can tell that she's crazy and he's crazy. And then him staying sounds like what typical people in DV do. And he's a typical person that's being DV'd. The only difference is I'd have shot her ass right back. Facts, shot for shot. We cool. And then she said, when I tell you to do something, you do it. You know she was the big dog in that household for real. Yeah. Talking about, we needed. I wonder if he had a job. So she expected him to show up. So let's keep moving on. Somebody said, my favorite aunt was forced to marry the man that got her pregnant. He was super abusive and like 6 feet tall. She's barely 4'2". And one day he got drunk and went for her baby. She picked up a chair and beat him into a pulp. He took her to court, and the judge saw this tiny woman walk him and looked at him and said, I'm pretty sure you deserved it. And she walked out free. Shout out to the judge. But he took her to court? So you mean to tell me that you've been whooping on me? I whoop you once, Ike. Anime got over on you one time. Are you taking me to court? Oh my God. The bitch in you came out. Yes. Oh, look at Aunt Betty. Aunt Betty. Go ahead, Aunt Betty, whooping on him. Somebody that I love her. I hope she had a great life after. She'd be my favorite aunt too. But same, if anyone went after my child, someone's getting hurt, and it's not going to be the baby. Why would you go after that child? That alone is disgusting. Could have never dated him again. Somebody said my grand held a pistol to my grandpa's head in his sleep and woke him up and told him if he ever took another sip of the bottle, she wouldn't wake him up next time. He was sober the rest of his life. And then the person continued to say, they told us that story at their 50th wedding anniversary party, by the way, like it was a cute little anecdote. Oh, baby, you remember the time I woke up and there was a gun in my head? And you told me, yeah, your grandma helped me to quit drinking, man. Man, listen. I have to know, did grandpa bring it up or did grandma? Gran took the mic after grandpa gave his speech and told the story. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to cut it out. I still want to hear more. Let's see if he continued up. But really and truly, it is kind of cute when you think about it. I don't know. Yeah, some of y'all heifers is crazy. Somebody, why were so many men coming home drunk back then? Depression. Somebody said because America was effing them in the butt, exactly like how it is today. Somebody said PTSD from war that wasn't dealt with properly. Someone said my granddad came in drunk, messing with my granny. She took a hammer and knocked his front teeth out his mouth. Till this day, my granddad don't even play with my granny at all. They still together? Somebody said 3 things. You either gonna get shot, beat, or poisoned. Pick your poison. Ashley says, my grandmother told me once, this is how you start cooking when you're sick of this shit. Woo! Y'all say y'all want that 60-70 to come back, gentlemen. These ladies are bringing it back. And I think you're going to regret it. Okay. Before she threw a chunk of snow-capped lard in the cast iron pan, and she followed it up with, not you, though. You tell him you're watching your figure. She had 3 husbands, not 1 divorce. They all died. But, oh, man. Somebody said that's cold-blooded. Ashley said, now, to be fair, I'm terrified of heart attacks and strokes now. My husband is sick of salads and veggie burgers. Oh, they got high cholesterol. You know, a lot of women give their husbands diabetes and get him to go off quicker. And men don't like to go to doctors, so she just don't force him to go to doctor, but feed him the sweetest things ever. And then he has diabetes. And if you get a little cut, a little bump, a little nothing, it's a big old sore. They might have to cut the whole foot off if you bump your toe or something. That's how they used to take them out of here. Clog his arteries. I love that. You know what? And you can't even lock her up because it's not POISON. And if they give you diabetes, I mean, you had to eat the food, right? So, Granny had a good thought, right? Yeah, buddy. I feel you on that. Comes with the age. I don't know where the game went. The women today ain't playing the game like that in mass. These grannies had some stone cold strategies and tactics, things that would make the devil blush. The difference is they didn't have a choice. We have a choice. We can just divorce and dip. We have a choice. You have whole phase and slut walks and all types of things going on right now. Y'all have choices. I ain't gonna say prostitutes wasn't back then, but what I'm saying is if they wanted anything of a normal life, anything of just a home and stability and safety, they had to put up with a lot. They couldn't divorce and move on from it. So then they had to find ways to deal with it. And they dealt with it how they could. Somebody said my granddad beat my grand within an inch of her life. She went to an appointment on base. The doctor called his unit and they had a blanket party and she burnt the hell out of his food and force-fed him what she made. My grandpa once spent his check at the bar in one night. And my grandma threw gasoline on him and tried to light him on fire. Her 4 brothers stopped her. Anyways, he started handing her checks when he got them. Yo! This is crazy, man. Listen, women in male-dominated fields are however it go. Somebody said my grandmother cut off one of my grandpa's fingers with his own machete, right? His cutlass, after he beat her drunk one night. She once shaved his head with that same machete after he had a bad night. Please don't ask to use our grandparents' marriage as an example. Let's just create healthy relationships, period. You want 60 years, behave like you want 60 years. Don't cheat, don't go over the boundaries, don't put your hands on me, don't be a bum, all these things, and we'll have 60. It's I'm doing that, you're doing that, so we're both being respectful. Look at 60. 60 is beautiful. But something you shouldn't want to go back, big fella. Somebody said, now my granny is saved now. She doesn't remember ever doing anything like that. But you know who does? My mom, and she's happy to tell it. Somebody said the phrase, he left to get some milk or a pack of cigarettes and never came back, wasn't about men abandoning their families. It was about women um, taking care of ABUS saved men. Okay. So he didn't leave to go get milk and never came back. He's DEAD. You get it? Her story is he left the family. He just went one day that he was going down by the corner store and he never came home. And that seems plausible because everybody around the way was doing it. But in reality, that fool in the backyard under the garden. You know what I mean? Nobody was checking. Nowadays, don't be careful now. You might not get away with that. Unless you're willing to do the time, then you take the chance if you about it. But you could always just leave the person. It's 2026. Somebody said my grandpa was paralyzed on the left side from World War II. Once he was on the porch and told he told, not asked, but told my grandma to go get him another beer. She walked out of the kitchen and pushed that man in his wheelchair off the porch. You remember Diary of a Mad Black Woman when Charles was put in the tub and what was that lady's name? Just having him flipping under the water about to drown after he treated her so badly. Somebody said my great grandmother is a widow of two. Somebody said my granddad definitely got shot by my grandma. Somebody said one of my grandmas stabbed her husband and missed his heart by an inch. Till this day, she said she didn't mean to miss his heart and be mad as F about it. He survived though. Why is she mad about it? Ooh. My grandma allegedly shot her cop husband, but allegedly. Don't tell on Granny now. Somebody said my grandma had to get her first husband out in jail to divorce him. My grandma had to get her first husband out of jail to divorce him. He was ABUS Civ, and when he put his hands on her, she called the law. While he was in jail, she put an ad out in the newspaper looking for him because that's how you had to do it. Obviously, he didn't respond to the ad, so she was able to claim abandonment and divorce him while he was in jail. I love that. Like I said, they found ways to go around the limitations that were placed on them. Somebody said, this is how I had to get a divorce because my ex would not participate in the divorce. This is hilarious. Somebody said, my grandmother took my grandfather to it. You know, they still do that to this day, right? You have to put out the thing. If you go to court and it's not an amicable divorce where the person signs the paper and it just goes through, then you have to go through a process. I can't speak for everywhere, right? But you have to go through the process of having somebody serve the person and posting it in the newspaper for like 3 months or something like that, or 3 different posts or something like that before you can get the divorce. They still do that in 2026. Somebody said my grandmother took my grandfather to a church instead of a hospital when he got sick for the first time, and he was very rich. He passed away in the church, and she sold everything he had and split the money with her favorite kids. She still her favorite kids. So she played favoritism with the children. That's corny. That's corny. That's what I said. Corny. Anyway, somebody said forensic advancements have made being like our grandmas a little difficult. I promise you that he went to get milk, and then his family start really looking for him, and then they check the ring cameras and everything. Your stupid ass going to jail trying to play like you in 1972. Somebody says never underestimate how stupid men as a whole are. Somebody said my mom beat my dad in his sleep with a bat because he gave her a black eye fresh out of the hospital from having me. I was preemie and jaundice and she nearly passed away. He wasn't at the hospital except to sign my birth certificate. He ran off and never came back after the whooping. Better to have him leave than stick around and keep doing it. Somebody said I watched my mama break a mason jar over her husband's head because he touched her face. Told everyone for the next month he got kicked by a cow. He was hauling. So he lied about it because he just couldn't let nobody know his wife hit him. So he was hauling a cow and got kicked in the face. Holly said, I had an aunt that gave every new bride in the family a cast iron skillet and told them that's not just for cooking. If you have to use a cast iron skillet, baby girl, you need to get up out of there. I'm telling you. You need to get up out of there. And said, and remember, play grit ball. Somebody said their grandma shot a few of them. After the first one, maybe two. How the rest of y'all lining up to get shot too? That's dumb. Somebody said, unfortunately, this is the only way men understood. This was so beautiful for my ears to hear. And the last one I'm going to read is say, my grandmother on my daddy's side almost, and I said almost, killed my papa like 9 times. Oh, he's a cat. I remember the day he told 8 to 9 distinctive different stories of what happened. Each time he said, and I had it coming too. Okay, and the person continued and said, each time he was saved, it was the kids that either covered Papa or held her hands or her and took the pew away. Somebody said, I am shook, but I think this would be me. My anger issues would have me triggered left, right, center. Well, I ain't gonna have nobody's son have me triggered. No one's son is gonna have me triggered, baby. I leave quicker than a bitch. Are you dumb? Are you crazy? Not doing it. Nobody's son is gonna have me out here playing stupid, going to jail for him. And then when I'm in jail, he's still gonna be doing what he was doing that made me go to jail in the first place. Stupid. Because what if you hit him and he survives? Or so who's gonna take care of your kids when you rock his world and then you go to jail? Who's taking care of the kids? No, I think about my kids more than I think about a man. Somebody said, what Medea said? Have you a pot full of grits on the stove? Hey, if you're about that life, be about that life, but make sure you about jail too. Somebody said, my grandmother was a godly woman. When I tell you my papa never spoke when she was in the room, I know she put belt to the butt. I grew up in a family where men were not heard unless spoken to. Ooh. I don't know if I like that. Somebody said my grandmother said she used to move the furniture around and grandpa would come home drunk. That way he would just trip over everything. And then move it back before he wake up. That's crazy. All of that. Can you imagine how miserable you are to the point where you have to be that petty, that conniving, that vindictive so you can get a form of miserable. A lot of them was miserable. It was 70 years of miserableness. All right, these last two for you. Somebody said my grandpa came home one day and didn't want to give my grandmother her check. My grandma and my aunts jumped in, beat him with a skillet. Somebody said, thinking cast iron pans were a cute thing Mima cherished. Meanwhile, that pan is why granddaddy can't remember where he was in 1956. All right. Okay, one more. Somebody said, my granddaddy raised a hand to my grandma one time. She beat his behind and told him if he tried that itch again, he wouldn't live to see the next day. Needless to say, they were married for over 40 years until he passed away and they never tried to hit her again. Somebody said, my granny outlived all of her exes, her baby daddies, her husbands, her boyfriends, all of them. She outlived every single one. My dad used to put his hands on my mom. They've been together for about 6 years when, according to my brother, she finally got sick of it. 6 years of whooping sis. Ooh. After Tina Turner in the car. After one altercation, my drunk dad decided to walk to my uncle's house, and my mom saw the perfect opportunity to run him over with the Ford. He chilled the F out after that, and somehow they're still together almost 40 years later. Please don't give me that. I don't want that. Somebody said my nana is a very soft-spoken woman, but she has the vibe of a queen. My papa did what she wanted when she wanted. She told me when I got married, you have to train them. Still hasn't told me how she trained my papa, though. All right. That's my last comment because we have 44 minutes. I didn't even realize that we did this much time, but I enjoyed myself talking to you guys. I hope you guys enjoy watching the video. You already know me. I lurk in these internet streets. I pop up in comment sections, read these comments. I just might read one of your comments. I love it there, by the way. In the comment section, it's always, that's where I run to. Before I even watch a video, sometimes I run to the comment because is the video going to be good? I know if the video going to be good based on the comments. You feel me? All right. So I'm out.